thrill me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
It's Review It Man, reviewing what he can. Movies are his jam, so let's get twisted, man. It's Review It Rob.
Hey yo, welcome into a brand new episode of the Review It Rob Show. Appreciate you as always joining in and clicking that play. This week we're going to be talking about the film Under Paris, new shark movie to talk about. That is on Netflix, so I'm going to give you my spoiler-free thoughts on that, as well as give you some news articles. Of course, you got your mandatory horror, mandatory DC, and some other things that are going on in the movie, TV realms to talk about, man. So without further ado, let's jump in to Under Paris. This is the new Netflix shark movie. It is a horror mystery thriller film running in at 1 hour and 41 minutes. The film, to save Paris from a bloodbath, a grieving scientist is forced to face her tragic past when a giant shark appears. So this is on Netflix, and I've been hearing all kinds of praise actually for this movie before I finally ended up watching it. I've heard people saying it's great. It's one of the greatest shark films since Jaws, right? Which when you get shark movies, that's obviously the first comparison. That's always going to happen is with Jaws. I've heard some people saying it's the best shark movie since was it Deep Blue Sea? So all kinds of praise I've seen for this film. And then my brother, Tombstone Josh, who does a show here on the Thrill Me Podcast Network called The Metal Groove, check it out. He watched it and he's like, man, you gotta see this movie. It's you're gonna check it out. You gotta check it out. So finally ended up checking it out over the weekend, mostly because there's nothing really that came out new in theaters for me to see. I do know that Inside Out 2 came out, but I wasn't planning on seeing that in theaters. Nothing against that film. It wasn't on my radar to go to theaters to see it. So I needed to find something to watch, man. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to check out that freaking shark movie, right? Haven't seen a trailer for it. Don't know anything about the film other than that it's taking place in Paris, right? Other than that, no idea what the film was going to be about going in. So I was like, cool, man. I see what people are saying. Why not? I need something to watch. My brother's telling me to check it out. I'm going to check it out, man. So check it out. I did. And I watched it, and I got to say, solid movie. It is a horror mystery thriller, so that's the trifecta of awesome. And it does a really good job with those aspects, man. Like I mentioned earlier, Jaws is the film that always gets brought up when you do these sharks movies. Whether it's this movie, it probably does get brought up with Sharknado because we already know Sharknado is like a ridiculous film, right? So they've got 20 of those movies, but that's always going to happen. You're always going to get that. You're going to get that with exorcism films and The Exorcist and so on and so on. So you gotta the main first thing you gotta know, other than what I've told you already about the fact it's on Netflix for you to watch it there, is that the film was shot in Paris, right? So it's dubbed on Netflix. I just pushed play when I picked it up. It is in an English dub where I watched it. I'm sure maybe you can change the language. I don't know. I didn't look too far into that, to be honest with you. But I just clicked play on Netflix and it was an English dub, so it's obviously in another language, and I'm sure you can get that other language somewhere. It's a French film, is what I'm trying to say. But so that obviously it would be in French. So that version has to be there. I just clicked play when I went on Netflix and watched the movie there, and the dubbing's not the best. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So if you get the chance to watch the original version of the film, do that. But if you only get the opportunity or you only see the ability to watch the English dub, that's fine. Just know that it's not going to match up perfectly or whatever, but nonetheless, as far as the film itself, I like what they put together here. It's an easy story to kind of understand. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers, so I'm not going to touch on any of that stuff, but it doesn't overburden you with story or anything like that. It gets you from the start of the movie. You're already getting involved in the shark aspect of things, shark diving, looking around, all that stuff. And then, of course, it's going to progress throughout the film and all that stuff, and the story's going to progressed very well. I mean, for a film that says 1 hour 41 minutes, did not feel like that. Honestly, it felt like a pretty easy watch from start to finish. Kept me interested from start to finish. Didn't even seem that long. Honestly, didn't even seem like it was an hour and 40 minutes. Because it was easy to watch. It's pretty easy to understand. There are, like I said, comparisons with Jaws, and there are moments in the film that are like, yeah, that's a Jaws aspect right there, which you're gonna get. Obviously, that's no knock on them. But the shark stuff in the movie gets pretty brutal. Sorry, I don't have a rating for you. I pulled this information off of Rotten Tomatoes. They don't have one either. So I believe Netflix said it was rated R, but which I can see there is some grisly violence in the film. There is some bloodshed. There are some limbs floating around, and all that stuff. So I could see it having an R rating. Okay, so let's look it up real quick. So looking it up, Under Paris, and the Rotten Tomatoes didn't have this. I like using their website because it's easy to copy and paste stuff off of there. It's normally like the first one that comes up when you search a movie. But Under Paris is rated TVMA for gore, language, and violence. Which yes, it has all those things. It does get gory, and it does get violent. Man, it is insane. Now, one of the things people have told me about the movie is the catacombs scene. Again, not going to go into that with spoilers, but they're like, man, you guys see that catacombs scene? And yes, absolutely, it lived up to the talk. It's very suspenseful, very insane, very kind of uncomfortable while watching. You're like, oh, this is tough. This is a tough aspect we're getting into here, and how are they going to get out of this if they're going to get out of this, right? So that was cool. Just crazy stuff going on there. It's a breezy, easy breezy shark movie, man. It's a good time. Like I had a good time watching it. It's a quick watch, like I mentioned. It does not feel like it's an hour and 41 minutes by any means. The shark stuff is awesome. The violence is good in the movie, which you're watching a horror movie. That's some of the things you look for sometimes. The mystery aspect of trying to figure out what's up with this shark. Why is this shark here, what's going on, and how is it going to get through this, and how are they going to get through this, and what's going to happen. So the mystery is good there. The thriller aspect is good about, again, trying to figure out how how are they going to survive this? What's going to happen here? So overall, easy watch as far as I'm concerned. It's a easy Netflix film to throw on if you're looking for a shark movie, obviously. If you're looking for something to watch during Shark Week, there you go. You can throw that on as well. But as far as a Netflix film, I thought it was solid. I had a good time watching it. I was interested in figuring out how things are going to unfold as we get through the film and all that stuff, and I think it lived up, man. Easy, quick watch, solid story, good shark action in the movie. So overall, I say it is an enjoyable film. So if you got Netflix, man, go ahead and check it out. It'll be worth your time. Don't worry about that 1 hour 41 minute time frame. It does not feel like that at all. So go ahead and those are my thoughts on Under Paris. If you've seen the film on Netflix over the weekend or since it's been out, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, going from there, let's jump into horror news real quick with M. Night Shyamalan's Trap film has been moved up a week. It was originally going to release August 9th and it will now release August 2nd. So that's cool, man. I saw the trailer recently for the first time. I know the trailer's been out for a while, but I don't know. I think it played before some movie in theaters. I finally saw it. It does look like an interesting concept, an interesting idea of a film, so I can't wait to check that out. Josh Hartnett seems to be back in Hollywood, man, and doing things, so that's cool. So we got that. The Conjuring TV show, we got a little bit of an update on that. They announced back in 2023 that The Conjuring was getting a TV series on Max. We haven't heard much since, but they have reconfirmed that the show is in production, and they're still working on that show. So that's still happening. There is a fourth Conjuring movie on the way, which is said to be the final film of the original Conjuring story. So stuff is happening over there. We recently had The Nun 2 come out, which I did enjoy. You want to know more about that? I reviewed it back when that came out. Saw that during my Halloween Horror Nights trip last year. So excited for that, man. I like The Conjuring. I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff they put out there. Some things have been tough, like that first Nun movie was tough. First Annabelle movie was a little tough, but overall, I've enjoyed that world that they've created there, and I can't wait to see what route they go television-wise. Right? What will they do with that? It's a Conjuring show. Will it be a spinoff of one of the characters that they've introduced, or will it be a Monster a Week deal with the Warrens? God, what is the name of that room? The Warrens, the room where they keep all their possessed things. Artifact room. Duh. The Warrens artifact room. So will it be focused on that? Which again, The Conjuring, no, Annabelle Comes Home had a lot to do with the artifact room. So I don't know. We'll see what that show ends up being, man. But I'm excited nonetheless to see what they end up doing with a Conjuring show. Again, I think that's a good get for Max. Use that. You've got the Harry Potter show on the way. You've got some DC things that I'll be talking about in a moment. That's coming to Max as well. So build up Max to get it back going. With these original contents and things. So of course we got the It show, Welcome to Derry, coming as well. So Max has got some things building over there, man. So if they figure out a way to make it all work out, good for them. Now, speaking of DC, a moment ago, brought them up. Let's jump into some DC news here. First one being that Warner Brothers Animation and DC Studios have announced that they are developing an animated Blue Beetle series. The series is reportedly to build on the 2023 live action film, and if it's successful, could potentially lead to the return to the big screen for the Blue Beetle. Now, I like this. I'm glad they're going this route. That 2023 Blue Beetle film, absolutely enjoyed that movie. Good time. So it's confusing. I know it's confusing, and trying to figure out how it all works out, but we'll see. We have to wait and see how this all works out. So James Gunn has said that Blue Beetle, from that 2023 movie, that character is the first character of the DCU. The character, not that movie. That movie does not exist in the DCU. Be honest with you, I don't even think it really exists in the DCEU either. If I remember correctly, that movie doesn't really tie into anything that happened in DCEU wise either. It's just kind of existed. If I'm thinking about that correctly, because yeah, I don't remember it really connecting to anything. So feasibly, you would think that movie is the first movie, but it's not. The Blue Beetle character is the first character of the DCU, is what James Gunn has said. Now remember, Creature Commandos, which I'll get to in a moment, that's the first official DCU creation, right? And then the first film is going to be Superman, formerly known as Superman Legacy. Now Superman, just the title, will be out next year, 2025, and will be the first film of the DCU. So it's confusing to kind of go around trying to figure out what's happening here, because we do have Peacemaker Season 2 happening, but it's Peacemaker Season 1 is not connected to the DCU by any means, because that took place in the DCEU. So it's a lot, right? But I have faith in James Gunn explaining it or seeing it and watching it all out on screen. But Blue Beetle coming back, it's cool. I'm excited about it. They haven't really announced much about what the show will be about. If it is in fact a sequel to the movie, or will be off of that film, if the people who play the characters in the movie will be voicing these characters, like we know they're doing with other characters and animated stuff in the DC studio. So I don't know what is exactly happening here. Not a lot to be known at the moment, but interesting, and it makes sense, right? If the Blue Beetle's gonna be your first character, you would want to figure out how to make that work. So we'll see how that all ends up going in there, and just have to wait and see. Now, with another Max DC thing that's happening is Creature Commandos, like I mentioned a moment ago, being the first thing, and we do know now officially that it will be releasing December of this year. So we knew it was coming out this year. Didn't really have a release date or a release time frame, but we now know that it'll be releasing this December, man. So pretty quick turnaround from, well, not too quick, because obviously Superman comes out in July, but interesting that it's still happening in December. And remember, this is the first DCU story, and it's all connected from here. So once this comes out, boom, bang, here we go. Now that doesn't mean like the Batman or the Joker films that are coming out. Those aren't connected to DCU. Those are DC Elseworld stories. They're not connected to the DCU storyline that's being built here. So from Creature Commando going on until they end it, whenever that is, hopefully never, that's when it starts up. So Creature Commando, going to be an animated show on Max. The characters are that are on there that are being voiced by the actors, those actors will play them in the live action version, is what they've told us. So I'm excited, man. I'm ready to see this. I'm excited to get the DCU to go. It's nice to know it'll be in December, so it's like a little gift at the end of the year for us to get us ready for Superman. That'll be in July, and I guess we can probably kind of speculate. Maybe Superman first trailer would be around the Super Bowl time. Superman at the Super Bowl. There you go. So maybe that'll be the first time we get a Superman deal. But excited to see what happens, man. Right, you know me. I love DC. I dedicate part of my show to DC stuff. So I'm excited to get this going. I'm excited to have some fun with this and just live this world, man. I love the DC characters. I have a great time watching these movies. I don't care what other people say. I've always had a good time watching these movies, and it's like cool, man. Give me more. I'm really excited. Can't wait to see all this stuff. While we're on the subject. At the time of this recording, it's already passed, but The Flash just hit its 1 year anniversary over the weekend, and I still love that film to death, man. And I saw online when I was looking up, I saw The Flash was trending, like, oh, here we go with these negative people. A lot of people just praising the movie and saying how much they enjoyed it and loved it. And a lot of people still calling it the greatest comic book movie of all time. That is a subjective matter between people, but I'm not far away from believing that either. I absolutely love that film to death. So happy anniversary to that film, and can't wait to, watch it again and again and again throughout the years, because I love it. Never understood the hate for it, but hey, people are allowed to have their opinions. Movies are a subjective nature, so do your deal out there, but happy anniversary to The Flash. Let's see, now let's jump into some rumors that happened with DC, being that The Batman, this is the Matt Reeves film starring Robert Pattinson, or Battinson as I'll always call him from now on. There's a report that came out that said the Batman 2 and 3 will be shooting back to back over the weekend. You're like, okay, that's interesting. They've done that there's been a couple films that have done that recently where they've shot back to back and all that, so okay. Not necessarily unheard of by any means, but they did that. And then somebody asked James Gunn. They sent James Gunn a thread. James Gunn's mostly on threads. And they asked him, is this real? Is this true? To which James Gunn said, no, this is not true. So, like I mentioned a moment ago, these films are Elseworlds films, but there's still James Gunn's involved because he's the head of DC Studios, right? So he's involved in it. He's going to know all the stuff. They're talking about all the stuff with him and all that. So he knows, and he said no, it is not being shot back to back. He was also asked if the script, when the script will be done for the Batman. He said when Matt feels it needs to be done, which is Matt Reeves, who is doing the script, which makes perfect sense. So be wary of those rumors that come out there. They're not always correct. They're not always true. So, James Gunn said the script is still being written for the Batman 2. Let's see, is there what else did he say here? So he was asked, oh yeah, can anyone begin to watch the new DCU starting from Creature Commandos because you said Peacemaker Season 1 is not canon anymore? And he said yes, which is true. Again, Creature Commando is going to be your first DCU storyline, man. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. You can go with DC. You don't have to worry about stuff that's happened before or anything. The new DCU story will begin with that. Let's see, what else was there? He was asked about the DCU Batman, to which I believe, if I remember correctly, he said they haven't done casting because the script isn't done yet. But let me just double check to make sure I'm giving you full details here. Let's see. That's how the show works. I don't write nothing down. I just try to remember everything. Let's see. Batman. Talked about his use of music process as well. I highly suggest following James Gunn on Threads. He does a lot of stuff that is really cool in here. Okay, let's see. Batman. Okay. Yeah, we haven't begun casting the DCU Batman yet, which is fine. I mean, there's still got multiple films to come out before we get to Batman, the Brave and the Bold. So I'm fine with them. We still gotta get through Superman, and then Supergirl is releasing the next year, right? So yeah, we gotta You gotta give it time, man. You gotta give it time. But nonetheless, I'm glad people are, getting excited for the DCU. Go in fresh face. I know the Snyder bots out there, the Snyder servants or whatever you want to call them, out there are gonna, do their best to derail it because they can't get over stuff. But again, I like those Snyder movies, but hey, it's time to move on, and I'm excited for the future of DC, man. It's very, very interesting. A little confusing, but everything will be understood once we get to watch everything. So it's fun times to be had, nonetheless. Let's see, no Wizarding World news this week to go over, and then just some other bits of news to hit real quick before we go out of the episode, before the episode ends. Let's see, first thing to talk about here is that Emily Blunt, fantastic actress, is in talks to star in Steven Spielberg's next film. It is not known what the film is, the details of the film, not known, which is normal for a Steven Spielberg film, not really going to get that stuff out, but we do understand that it'll be an event film with like special effects, vast scope, all that stuff. It is based on a story from Spielberg that he conceived, and it'll be a screenplay from David Koepp, who's did Jurassic Park and countless other things with Steven Spielberg. So, I mean, I love Spielberg. He's easily one of my favorite directors. Love so many of his films. I mean, Jurassic Park and Back to the Future, both his movies, both like my. Whoops, mix up. Spielberg didn't direct Back to the Future. Duh. That was Zemeckis. Spielberg produced it. But yeah, those two movies. I love Spielberg stuff. Like I love his work, man. So you're telling me he's gonna work with Emily Blunt, who's an incredible actress? Like, oh my God. Like the Fall Guy was a fantastic movie. Go see it if you haven't seen it. But I recently rewatched the first Quiet Place film. I need to watch Quiet Place 2 again. Or maybe for the first time. I don't think I've ever seen Quiet Place 2, to be honest with you. But I watched A Quiet Place over the, after they announced that the house was coming to Halloween Horror Nights. And gosh, she's such a good actress, dude. Dude, Emily Blunt is a fantastic actress. So, are you telling me you're pairing her and Steven Spielberg gonna be pairing up for a movie? Take my money. That's gonna be freaking a fantastic, fantastic put together film, man. So can't wait to see that. Let's see. The MCU Blade film is apparently becoming the MCU's Flash. And what I mean by that is the Flash film over for DC took a long time and went through numerous issues before, it officially, released last year. But that movie, it went through a lot, and now Blade is going through a lot as it's lost its another director, and it's just like, what is happening over there with that movie? Like, it shouldn't be that hard to put together, I wouldn't think. You've got a fantastic actor already attached to play the character. Freaking, we've seen a Blade movie. There's plenty of material out there to help you with deciding what the movie's going to be. Are they having a hard time connecting it to the MCU part of it all? Like, I don't know what the problem is right now. I don't know what's happening over there with that Blade movie, but it is hitting some rough patches, man. And it's something that, again, should be easy for them to figure out and put together. But I guess there's just something that's not working out. Be it they don't want to work with Kevin Feige because he's too in control, or what have you. I don't know what is happening, but it's weird to say the least that movie is hit with such issues. All right, and last thing to talk about here before we get you out of here is that Seven Bucks Productions, that is the production company from Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Danny Garcia, they have signed a film and TV first look deal with the Walt Disney Company to develop films for theatrical and streaming. It's also said that the multi-year agreement will also give $7 a chance to collaborate across all Disney divisions. Disney, of course, has a mass variety of divisions, not just movies and TV. They have a whole freaking theme park, as well as there's Disney video games, there's ESPN, there's all that stuff, right? So it's interesting to see. The Rock has a history with Disney. I mean, he's got 2 Moana films on the way right now. We've got the sequel to the animated film, and we have the live action movie on the way, to which he's also starring in. So not insane to think of that they'll be working together by any means. I'm interested to see what the other aspects will be. I know he was in that Jungle Cruise movie also with Emily Blunt, right? Emily Blunt was in that movie. I believe. I've never seen that movie. To be completely honest with you, I forgot that movie even existed until this very moment. The Jungle Cruise. That's Emily Blunt, right? Give me the cast. Yeah, Emily Blunt. I might watch it just for her. But and I'm a rock fan, but I've avoided that movie somehow. Again, completely forgot it existed until this moment. But I wouldn't expect them to change the Jungle Cruise a ride at the Disney theme parks or anything to add The Rock into it. I don't know how you do that. Maybe like a video on the boat, but yeah, I don't want to do that. Like there's nothing to change about that ride. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. ESPN, I can kind of understand he has the UFL league, right? That's under him and Danny as well. So maybe some kind of deal with the UFL and ESPN could be reached or something. I don't know. But things are happening over there. He signed a deal with them. He's like, hey, man, didn't work out with DC. I'm going to go over here to Disney and see what's going on. So, can you imagine The Rock joins the MCU? Wild. But, and then, again, it's all kinds of stories, right? It's just going to be whatever he ends up coming with. It's a first look deal. So, whatever they end up making and wanting to put out over there, they'll send it to Disney and see if it gets made or not. But that's going to do it, man. That is this week's episode. Those are the things to talk about. So, again, the film Under Paris I thought was pretty solid, man. Good shark film. One of the better ones I've seen. Obviously, it's not Jaws level, but none of them will ever be Jaws level. But good entertainment nonetheless. That is on Netflix streaming now. Horror-wise, M. Night Shyamalan's Trap has been moved up a week. The Conjuring show is still on the way. DC, the Batman and the Batman 2 are not shooting back to back. We've got a Blue Beetle anime series on the way, and Creature Commandos will be releasing this December. And then The Rock is joining teams with Mickey Mouse. Emily Blunt is joining teams with Steven Spielberg, and MCU apparently does not want to make this Blade movie. So we are going to wait to see what happens there. But that is the news, man. So appreciate you joining in, listening to the show as always. Thank you for taking that time. I love doing the show, and I'm hoping you're having a good time listening to me ramble on and getting stuff wrong, saying Spielberg directed Back to the Future, which he did not. He produced it. But hey, things happen. He was still there. But yeah, that's going to be it. That's it for this episode. Appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, week, month, year. And as always, remember that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all. Oh, hang on. Special shout out to my brother who celebrated his birthday in between the last episodes here. Happy birthday, brother. Love you. Hope you had a wonderful birthday. I know you went down there to Universal, had a good time, brought me back a Halloween Horror Nights dealio as an early birthday gift from me. So I appreciate that, and had to say it. Love my brother, and happy birthday to him. That's going to be it for this show. Remember that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, and one only remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all next episode.